Welcome to the Daily Meal for Sunday the 20th of December 2020. We're going to start today with the South London News calling out Chris Hughton for his post-match interview comments, saying that the draw was a fair result. Well, personally, if we can't put our chances in the net, then, it's going to be a draw. Maybe it's not the result it should have been, but as a result it was because of our poor finishing in front of the goal. So let's take a read of this. It says, puzzling claim by Forest boss as he claims draw a fair result despite Lions dominating shot count. They're going. Chris Hughton felt his Nottingham Forest side merited their one draw at Millwall yesterday. The Lions had 15 shots to the visitors' 4 with 5 on target. Millwall had taken a 47-minute lead through Tom Bradshaw, but Alex Myton equalised just 2 minutes later. It was Forest's only effort on goal. Hughton said it was a fair result, but when you go 1-0 down in this type of game that is going to be tight and playing against a very direct team, it's probably more about battling qualities than the quality you show. Overall, I was probably pleased with the draw. That was important that Forest level quickly. The natural feeling is that if they are 1-0 up, then as the game goes and they go 2 up and they go even more direct, or they start settling for the 1-0, which maybe opens up the game a little more. The response was really good. It was a really good goal as well. It was Myton's first goal for Forest. Hughton said, brilliant for him, and probably what it does show is that up until then it had been a difficult game for him. He hadn't really got into the spaces where he can show quality. He was up against a good fullback that got tight on him. Probably up until the goal he had a quiet game, but when you're a forward player or a winger, then it's about the moments that you can change something or make it happen. It was a super run. He didn't have to make that run because Lewis Grabban had already made it, but great anticipation and finish. Basically what he's saying there is, when you get your chances, take them. We made tons of chances and we didn't take them, so when you compare it that way, they only had 1 shot on target and it was a goal. That's a good game for them, isn't it? I think so. If you only have 1 shot on target and you score and you restrict the other team to only 1 goal, then your one draw is deserved. So a bit of a harsh headline there from the South London News. And we're going to move on now to money. The Price of Football podcast put out these series of tweets about Millwall's financial figures. 2 or 3 weeks ago, Millwall released their end of year financial results, or Millwall Holdings PLC as it's known. If you want to check it out, go to their website or do a little search on the internet for Millwall Holdings PLC, and you can have a look at themselves. Have a look at that for yourselves if you want. But the Price of Football podcast here is collated it all down and put it into graphs, just to get to the root of the matter. And these financial results are up until the year ending 30th of June. So they're basically after the first lockdown, while the rearranged matches were going on. So just before last season had finished and was still going on. And if we have a look here, the first tweet says Millwall income down 11%, mainly as a result of COVID curtailments. Most other clubs have not reported for 2019-2020, but Millwall in bottom third of the league by looks of things. If we look here on the first picture, it says total income in millions. And last season it was, the season before it was 18.4, and it went down to 16.4. And when you compare that with the leagues, of course, our ones are up to date. If you look at this chart here, whole cities are up to date, but the rest of the leagues, they're not up to date. So we're down the bottom in terms of how much money coming in. When you think of what that means now for financial fair play, that really restricts us into what we can spend in terms of how much money we got coming in, our income, how much we spend. Now, financial fair play, they brought it in when things were rosy, and now this COVID thing's come along. Maybe they're going to have to relook at that and just throw the whole thing out or do something about it, because there's a lot of worry that a lot of teams are going to be losing a lot of money, and the FFP regulations won't make a lot of sense to anyone. So the second tweet here from the Price of Football is Millwall broadcast income down slightly. Big difference compared to those clubs with parachute payments. Let's have a look at that. We look at this. You see here, it's not gone down that too much. Last year it was 9.4. The season before it was 10 million. It's not gone down that much because I think the new deal kicked in from Sky. But if you compare that to, this is league-wide broadcast revenue, and we're actually pretty high. We like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're 8th overall, but you see the difference between those teams who have been getting the parachute payments, and they're getting 52 million, 40 million, 22 million. We're sat there with just under 10 million. There's a big difference there. If we go down further and look at the next tweet they got here, is Millwall ticket sale income down over a fifth due to matches taking place. BCD, that's behind closed doors. We'll have a look at this. That's a pretty steep drop there. Basically looks like we've gone back to League One level of matchday income, because we're down to 4.4 million. That's because of the all the games behind closed doors matched. So they're only making money on the I follow. And now recently they had a couple of games season ticket holders, and now they put the kibosh on that now with tier 4, everything shut down again. They're not looking too good there. Of course, remember, this is just for up to the 30th of June. So this is still got the good figures from I would say from August 2019 to round about, is it February, when the last derby game when they shut everything down. They've still got the good figures from that, and then the dive off a cliff from March to July. So this is going to look a lot worse next season, I bet, if we don't get things sorted before next season starts. There's another couple of graphs here. It says Millwall wage bill up 12% in 2019-2020. Average wage now just over £9,000 a week. Wages are £115 for every £100 of revenue, which certainly isn't good, is it? If you're spending more money than you've got coming in. You see here the wages climbing up. Took a big drop when we went down to League One. Been rising ever since, and the highest it's ever been in history, probably 18.9, just under 19 million in wages. Let's take a look at that as a percentage of income, and that relates to the FFP thing that I was talking about earlier. You're not supposed to go over a certain number. I don't really know what it is, but it's certainly not 115%. Certainly isn't that. Let's go back and drop down. There's one more graph here from the Price of Football. It says, as a result of rising costs and falling income, Millwall day-to-day losses doubled to over 10 million in 2019-2020. By championship standards, these losses are low. And remember, for most other clubs, figures for the previous season pre-COVID. So we've got our latest figures out. Look at that. That is something. That's shocking. That is, isn't it? We lost 5.5 million last season, and in the seasons just gone, that doubled to 10.2 million. That's shocking. That is shocking. Well, that's not as much as it's ever been, because the season when we got relegated, we lost 10.4. So it's comparable to that, but we're not relegated. We're still in the championship, but we still lost that money. So it looks like we could be able, we've basically got a League One budget in the championship, which is not good. And as you say, if you compare that to this is losses, compare that to the other teams in the league. The only team that made a profit was Rotherham, and they made £1 million profit. All the others lost money, and if you look here, like same again, Hull City, the only team with up to date accounts. All the other teams, they haven't put their accounts out yet. It could be a lot worse. Some teams haven't put out results for 2 or 3 years. Bolton here is still on 2017. Well, they're not in our league anymore. They've gone down and down, but they still haven't reported. So if you see if our losses have doubled from 5 to 10 million, you look up here, what about teams like Forest, who had 37 million losses? Is that going to go up to 50 or 60? Teams like Birmingham, 29 million losses. Is that going, when they release their results, will that pop up to 60? You don't know, do you? Quite worrying. But quite worrying for everyone involved. So, as I say, this is from the Price to Football podcast on their Twitter account. They've put all this stuff out. But you can find this stuff you can have a look for yourself by going to www.millwallholdingsplc.co.uk and clicking on the accounts there, and you can have a look for yourself. It's pretty detailed. I just scroll down. I won't get into it today, but you can see all there's a big report basically saying what's going on with the trust, the COVID, all that kind of thing. Reports about the directors and that, and then you go down and you see here's all the facts and figures, tables, graphs, and all that stuff. If you want to get into it, you can have a look for yourself. It's all there. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye bye.